The rain had finally ceased, but the streets outside still shimmered under the fractured glow of street lamps. A cold wind swept through the empty alley leading to Ashbourne Academy, tugging at Lila Thorn's coat as she approached the looming structure. The school had been abandoned for decades, its brickwork crumbling, windows smeared with dirt and cracks, and the once grand gates chained loosely, as though inviting someone in. Whispers had followed the academy long after its closure. Students disappearing without a trace, teachers vanishing overnight, and strange sounds echoing through the empty halls. Yet, Lila had come for answers, determined to uncover the truth behind the legends. Pushing against the rusted gate, a high-pitched squeal cut through the night air, bouncing across the courtyard like trapped laughter. Lila hesitated for a heartbeat, then stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and the acrid scent of mildew. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, illuminating torn posters, scattered notebooks, and desks left in chaotic disarray. Despite the decay, there was a strange residual warmth, as if the academy had only just closed its doors yesterday. Her boots clacked against the cracked tiles, the sound unnervingly loud in the oppressive silence. She paused before a row of lockers, scanning the shadows stretching along the walls. Then, a flicker of movement. Small, fleeting, childlike. He darted across the hallway and vanished behind a classroom door. Lila froze. "It's empty," she whispered to herself, though the air seemed to press against her chest in denial. The classroom door creaked open slightly, revealing a pale hand curling around the edge. The flashlight trembled in her grip as she tried to see inside. The room swallowed the light. Darkness, thick and unyielding. A voice in her mind screamed, "Don't go." Her legs moved anyway. Each step amplified the metallic scent of rust and something fouler, like dried blood. She reached the doorway. The hand was gone. The door swung shut behind her, slow and deliberate. Then came the whisper, soft and rhythmic, like air escaping from somewhere unseen. Her pulse spiked. The sound circled her, impossible, yet undeniable. A sudden metallic clang erupted deeper in the hall, making her jump. Silence returned, heavier than before, broken only by a flicker of light at the end of the corridor. She moved toward it, drawn by its uneven glow, and discovered an ancient projector spinning to life. The beam revealed a classroom, her classroom, but not as it was now. Desks neatly aligned, students sitting in perfect stillness, faces smooth and featureless. Every head slowly turned toward her. Lila staggered back, the temperature plummeting, frost creeping along the grimy windows. On the wall behind them, black ink dripped in scrawled letters. "Attendance is never dismissed." The projector whined louder. Figures stepping out, not from the film, but into the real space. Lila pressed herself against the wall, heart hammering as shadows moved unnaturally, stretching toward her. The projector snapped off. Darkness consumed the room. Footsteps scraped closer. She spun around to find herself in a new corridor, unfamiliar lockers lining the walls. Photographs of students with blurred faces, one of them eerily hers. Lights flickered violently. 3 faceless forms emerged at the far end. When the light vanished, their footsteps advanced. Lila ran, doors whispering her name. She reached a stairwell, only to find herself still on the same floor. The building was twisting, folding in on itself. Bells tolled in the distance. Chairs scraped. Laughter echoed faintly. Hallways elongated. Tiles cracked. Shadows deepened. Every step a distorted echo. A faint red glow pulsed at the end of the corridor, whispers chanting, "She's late, she's late, she's late." Crawling along the narrowing floor, Lila reached the door. The chanting stopped. Silence. From behind it came the distant sound of children laughing and a voice calling roll. "Lila Thorn?" The door creaked open on its own. Inside, the classroom was pristine, motionless, faceless children sitting in perfect rows. A tall figure at the front, head hanging unnaturally. Read names from a sheet. Lila Thorn. Every faceless head turned simultaneously. Lila stepped back, but her body moved forward, drawn toward the empty desk by the window. Whispers surrounded her. "You're late. Sit. Stay." Memories surged. Childhood halls. Rain. Running. A scream. A slip. She sank into the desk. Calm washed over her, immediately replaced by terror. The teacher's voice reverberated inside her mind. "Class is complete." The door slammed. Darkness, pierced only by the flickering projector, cast images of past students with erased faces. Small, skeletal hands brushed her arms. The classroom twisted violently, dust whirling. Chalk scraped across the blackboard, drawing a faceless girl seated in a classroom. The silence in Ashbourne Academy thickened like fog as Lila's eyes darted across the room. The faceless children sat motionless, yet an unseen weight pressed against her chest. The faint echo of giggles, high-pitched, fleeting, wafted through the air, twisting the shadows around the desks. She tried to focus, but every movement of her flashlight made the walls writhe, elongating and contracting, as if the building itself was breathing. A metallic clatter drew her attention to the far corner, where a broken chair trembled violently. It toppled on its own, scraping across the floor in a grating squeal. Lila froze. The temperature plummeted, her breath fogging in front of her. Then, a whisper, soft and deliberate. "Don't leave. Stay." It echoed from the ceiling, walls, and floor all at once, surrounding her in an invisible cage. She spun, catching glimpses of movement at the edges of her flashlight's beam. Shadows peeling away from the walls, coiling around empty spaces. Driven by both terror and curiosity, she inched forward. Every step careful yet loud, echoing like a drumbeat in the empty hall. The projector flickered, casting images of past students on the walls, their faces blurred and contorted in silent screams. Then, suddenly, the projection changed. A classroom appeared, hers again, but the desks were overturned, books scattered, chalk smeared across the blackboard in jagged lines, spelling "never leave." Lila's stomach churned. The shadows shifted toward her, coalescing into small, childlike forms that hovered just above the ground. A sudden, cold gust slammed the door behind her. The classroom grew impossibly long, walls stretching and folding like paper. The faceless children's whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of distorted voices, echoing every word she had ever heard in school. Roll calls, lessons, reprimands, but twisted, alien. Her flashlight flickered violently, casting fleeting glimpses of the teacher, head tilted unnaturally. eyes hollow and black. Thought hammering, Lila stumbled into the hallway. The red glow from the previous corridor pulsed ahead, beckoning her. Each step made the building groan, the tiles cracking beneath her feet. She tried to retrace her path, but every turn led her deeper into a labyrinth of shifting walls, endless lockers, and photographs, her face appearing in them more than once, sometimes smiling, sometimes crying, always faceless. Then came the sound of footsteps, not hers, heavy, dragging, deliberate. Lila turned, flashlight swinging wildly, but the hallway was empty. The whispers returned, this time louder, chanting in a distorted rhythm. Lila Thorn, sit, stay, forever. Panic rose in her throat as the floor beneath her shivered and buckled. A chair rolled toward her, then stopped abruptly as if waiting. Another followed. They circled, converging, forming a narrow path toward the glowing red door at the end. Against her instinct, she moved forward, crawling along the corridor. The walls seemed to pulse, breathing, whispering. At the door, a chorus of laughter and the haunting call of a roll call pierced her mind. Lila Thorn? She flinched as the door creaked open on its own. Inside, the classroom was immaculate again, but silence pressed on her like a physical force. Faceless children sat in rigid rows, and the teacher's head hung unnaturally, reciting names from a cracked attendance sheet. Lila Thorn, it intoned. Every head turned simultaneously, shadows stretching across the floor. Lila's body betrayed her, moving forward toward the desk by the window. Whispers enveloped her. Sit, stay, forever. Memories surged. Rain-soaked halls. The sound of her own footsteps running. Screams swallowed by silence. A fleeting glimpse of her younger self in those same hallways. She sank into the desk, heart pounding. The classroom twisted violently around her, dust whirling in impossible patterns. Chalk scraped across the blackboard, forming the shape of a faceless girl sitting quietly, yet her presence was suffocating. The projector flickered, revealing images of past classes on the walls. Faces blurred, erased, including hers. Small, cold, skeletal hands brushed her arms as the air grew heavy with a metallic tang, like blood and rust. Outside, the building seemed to breathe, waiting. Whispers and giggles grew into a chorus, wrapping around Lila like chains. Her reflection in the cracked windows showed a pale, blank face, herself, yet not. The red door pulsed faintly, a heartbeat against the oppressive darkness. Each step toward it amplified the distorted chorus. You're late, forever. She reached for the knob. The whispers ceased. Silence. From the other side came the faint laughter of children and a teacher's voice, hollow yet familiar. Lila Thorn? The door opened, the final threshold between the world she knew and the one that had been waiting for her all along. The moment Lila stepped through the crimson doorway, the air shifted. The hallway stretched impossibly, walls pulsing like the ribs of some enormous creature. Shadows twisted unnaturally, reaching toward her as if to pull her into the floor. Every sound, the soft whisper of wind, the faint creak of tiles, amplified into a symphony of dread. She gripped her flashlight tighter, its beam flickering as the shadows leaned closer, forming grotesque silhouettes that mimicked the faceless children she had seen before. Ahead, the corridor split into two, both paths narrowing impossibly into darkness. She chose the left, drawn by the faint smell of ink and decay. The lockers lining the hall were cracked and rusted, yet the names etched into them seemed to shift when she looked away. Some hers, some of people she had never met. From deeper in the darkness, a soft thud echoed, then another. Something was moving ahead of her, dragging itself slowly. The metallic clatter of chains joined the rhythm, each step reverberating through the floor. Lila's heart raced as she entered what appeared to be the forbidden wing. The air was thick with dust and the stench of long-forgotten decay. The faint outlines of beds and wheelchairs appeared along the corridor, some overturned, others still. Shadows danced across the peeling walls, forming shapes that resembled faces frozen in silent screams. Then, a door at the end of the hall creaked open, revealing a room bathed in pale, sickly light. Inside, the remnants of old medical equipment lay scattered, some humming faintly, as if powered by an unseen source. A sudden movement made her spin. There, at the far end, a figure crouched in the corner. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes hollow, dripping darkness. Lila's breath caught in her throat as it lifted its head slowly, revealing a face contorted in agony and malice. The whispers returned, louder now, overlapping with the sound of the figure's dragging feet. Lila, you shouldn't be here. This is ours. The walls seemed to close in, the floor trembling beneath her. Every instinct screamed to run, but some force held her in place, pushing her forward despite the terror clutching at her chest. She edged toward the room, noticing chains dangling from the ceiling, swinging in rhythm with the whispers. As she stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind her, plunging the space into darkness, save for the sickly glow emanating from the walls. Shadows leapt from corner to corner, forming twisted shapes of patients, some sitting, some crawling, all staring with empty eyes. Lila could hear whispers of past torment, the cries of the dead, laughter that chilled her blood. A sudden flicker of light revealed the figure rising from the floor, dragging itself toward her. Its movements were jagged, inhuman, accompanied by the sharp clatter of chains on the ground. Lila stumbled back, her flashlight beam quivering as the shadows swelled, surrounding her in an oppressive wave. Whispers pressed against her ears, deafening. Stay, forever, ours. The floor shook violently, the walls groaning as though the entire building were alive, furious. Chains lashed out from the darkness, wrapping around her legs. Lila fell, struggling as the cold metal bit into her skin. Shadows surged closer, their faceless heads tilting, whispers clawing at her sanity. She swung her flashlight wildly, the beam slicing through the dark. When it struck the figure, a piercing wail erupted, shaking the walls. The chains loosened, falling away. Seizing the moment, Lila bolted toward the far door, the crimson glow spilling through its cracks. Behind her, the whispers swelled into a maddening chorus, the building twisting violently, as if trying to drag her back. The figure's hollow eyes bored into her as she ran, its scream following. Run, or join us. She hurled herself through the glowing doorway, the world twisting violently around her. The red light enveloped her, pulsing like a heartbeat. Whispers trailed after her, curling into her mind. You belong. You belong. The corridor ahead stretched infinitely, walls rippling like liquid, shadows pounding in rhythm with her own racing heart. The journal still burned in her hands, its pages alive with ember light, revealing visions of countless trapped souls, children, students, all twisted into forms neither living nor dead. Their faces stared accusingly, silent screams echoing through the warped halls. She understood now. The Academy didn't just consume bodies, it devoured memory, fear, guilt, and wove them into its very structure. A blackened doorway loomed ahead, frost curling from its frame. From inside, faint cries called her name. She hesitated, then pushed it open. Within lay the heart of the Academy. Shadows writhed across the walls, the floor pulsing with life. At the center hovered her own reflection, faceless, pale, hollow-eyed. "You've come far," a voice rasped from everywhere and nowhere. "But far isn't enough." The reflection raised a skeletal hand, pointing at the journal. Lila's grip tightened. "What do you want from me?" Her voice broke. The chamber groaned, a guttural laugh vibrating in her chest. To understand, to stay, or to leave. Shadows lunged, twisting into students and teachers she had seen. Their bodies elongated, their mouths open in silent screams. Lila ran, the journal flaring in her hands. A pulse of light burst outward, scattering the shadows for only a heartbeat. The reflection shrieked, soundless but agonizing, as the walls began to collapse inward. She sprinted blindly, every hallway folding, lockers twisting into impossible angles. Photographs with her blurred face lined the walls, hundreds of them, watching. The whispers turned frantic. "You can't leave. You can't leave." But the red light ahead grew brighter. There a doorway appeared, glowing with pale moonlight. A calm amid the chaos. She lunged, shadows clawing at her back. Her hand touched the frame, just as the reflection lunged, then dissolved into smoke. The whispers cut off. Silence. Lila collapsed outside. The night was still. Rain-slick streets glistened under the moon. Ashbourne Academy loomed silently behind her. She gasped, clutching the journal. For a moment, everything was normal. But then the journal fluttered open on its own. Fresh ink bled onto the page. Attendance, Lila Thorn, present, forever. Her heart stopped. Somewhere in the distance, a child giggled. The Academy never truly let anyone leave. It only waited.